Listen to me. I'm not here to motivate you with hype. I'm here to hit you with truth. Because the truth is, you can't wait for the opportunity to show up to prepare. By the time it knocks, it's too late. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Champions ain't made on game day. They made in the dark. They grind in silence. They sweat in private. So when the lights come on, they shine effortlessly. Look, too many of you are sleeping on your potential. You waiting for someone to call you, to pick you, to bless you. But let me tell you something. Preparation is your responsibility. Nobody's gonna do it for you. Nobody's gonna check in on you at 4 a.m. Nobody's gonna force you to study, to hustle, to practice. That's on you. Success ain't about luck. Success is when preparation meets opportunity and you dominate. You don't fumble the blessing. You don't freeze under pressure. You execute, you win. You ever seen a lion stretch before the hunt? No, because he's always ready. His body's ready. His mind's ready. He don't warm up. He shows up. And that's how you gotta be. Stay ready spiritually. Stay ready mentally. Stay ready physically. Don't get caught slipping when life throws the test. Because life don't schedule a trial. They just come. So stop playing with your life. Wake up with purpose. Go to bed with peace. Because you did what you had to do that day. Stay ready with your vision. Stay ready with your gifts. Stay ready with your hustle. So when your name is called, you don't flinch. You perform. Let the world say it didn't come out of nowhere. You were just ready. Look, I need you to hear me loud and clear right now. Because I'm not here to tickle your ears or give you sugar-coated lies. I'm here to tell you the truth that might hurt, but it's gonna heal if you receive it right. Preparation is your responsibility, not your coach's responsibility. Not your mama's, not your teacher, not your mentors, not your bosses, yours. See too many of you walking around with your hand out, waiting for somebody to come bless you, waiting for somebody to show you the way, waiting for somebody to drag you to greatness like it's their job. No! It's not their job, it's your job. You want to be successful, you gotta own your journey. You gotta take accountability for your future. You gotta prepare like your life depends on it. Because it does. I get it. I understand. Life wasn't fair to you. You didn't have the resources. You didn't have the right environment. You didn't get the love, the guidance, the access others had. But listen, none of that is an excuse to not prepare. If you broke, prepare. If you got pain, prepare. If you got pain, prepare, because life is gonna test you either way. The question is, are you ready for it or not? Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's gonna walk up to you and say, hey, I noticed you have potential. Let me make everything easy for you. That ain't real life. That's a movie. And in real life, if you want the role, you better already be rehearsed. You better already know your lines. You better already be locked in before they even call your name. I remember being homeless, straight up, sleeping in abandoned buildings. You think I had time to feel sorry for myself? You think I had somebody showing up with a 5-step plan for success? Nah. I had to take responsibility for my own development. I had to get up every single day, broken and tired, and say, let me prepare anyway. Let me read. Let me grind. Let me work on my craft. Let me develop myself because I ain't staying here. And guess what? That mindset, that decision to prepare when nobody was watching, that's what changed my life. That's what built it, not the speeches, not the stages, not the stages, not the lights. But the decision prepared when I had nothing. I'm talking to somebody right now who's waiting for motivation. Whoa, waiting for clarity, waiting for a sign, waiting for somebody to validate them. And I'm telling you, stop waiting, start preparing. Start now, start broke, start scared, start tired, start without applause, start while it's ugly, start before you know how, just start. Because if you don't take responsibility for your preparation, you're gonna miss your moment, you're gonna get the call, and you won't be ready. The opportunity is gonna knock, and you're not gonna answer. Not because you didn't have the potential, but because you didn't do the prep. No? Preparation builds confidence. Preparation builds discipline. Preparation builds your identity. See, when you prepare, you stop walking into rooms like you don't belong. You stop shrinking in front of greatness. You stop feeling like an imposter. Because you know what you've done behind the scenes. You know the work you put in. You know the sacrifices you made. So you walk in not just like you deserve to be there, you walk in like you own it. But that confidence, that power, that strength, it don't come from hype. It don't come from hype. It comes from motivation. It comes from preparation. Quiet, consistent, ruthless preparation. I meet people all the time who say, man, if I just had this one chance, I could kill it. And I say, I know you would, because you don't have talent. Not because you don't have potential, but because you ain't ready. You ain't been studying. You ain't been studying. You ain't been rehearsing. You ain't been putting in the reps. You're living on dreams, not discipline. You're living on feelings, not preparation. And the world ain't gonna give you success just because you feel like you deserve it. The world is gonna test you, and only the prepared will pass. Stop blaming your lack of progress on other people. Stop blaming the system. Stop blaming your upbringing. Stop blaming the economy. Stop blaming your job, your school, your city, your boss. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you prepare for what's next. You can control your habits. You can control your mindset. You can control how early you wake up, how deep you focus, how hungry you are. That's on you. Every single day is a vote for the future you want. And preparation is how you cast that vote. So don't wait until the spotlight hits to get ready. Be ready now. Every time you choose to skip the prep, you're sabotaging your future self. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you're robbing your destiny. Every time you procrastinate, you're handing the keys to your dream to somebody else who's grinding harder, somebody else who's hungry, somebody else who ain't waiting on motivation. They're making it happen. You keep saying you want to be a champion. You keep saying you want to win. You talk about being the best, standing at the top, dominating your field, making your mark, leaving a legacy. But let me ask you something. You train like a champion because champions don't just talk. Champions don't show up once in a while when they feel like it. Champions don't train occasionally. Champions train daily, every single day, whether they feel like it or not, whether the weather's right or not, whether they're tired or sore or discouraged, they show up. They show up because they understand this. Greatness is not built on convenience. It's built on consistency. Some of you train when your schedule allows. You train when the stars align. You train when you're in the mood. That's why you're not winning. That's why you're not elevating. That's why you're not elevating. That's why you keep losing to people who want it more than you. Because they train like their life depends on it. They train like losing is not an option. They train every single day, whether it's rain or shine, pain or peace. They train like warriors, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Champions don't need to be reminded. They don't need to be motivated. They don't need someone dragging them out of bed. You think Kobe waited for someone to tell him to hit the gym? You think Serena needed someone to remind her it was time to practice? You think Messi had to be big to touch a ball? No, they were already there, already grinding, already doing what most people won't do so they can live how most people never will. That's the mindset. That's the separation. That's what makes them champions. The daily discipline that nobody sees, but everybody respects when the lights come on. See, everybody wants to be great until it's time to do what greatness requires. Everybody wants to win the title, but nobody wants to train like a title holder. You want the championship belt, but you train like a bench warmer. You want to speak on stages, but you don't practice your message. You want to lead people, but you don't lead yourself. That ain't how it works. You got to earn it in the dark. You got to grind when it's boring. You got to stay locked in when there's no hype, no audience, no recognition. Because what you do daily determines who you become permanently. And let me be real, it's not about hours. It's about commitment. You can't just punch the clock and expect miracles. You can't show up half-hearted and think excellence is gonna meet you there. Champions aren't just consistent, they're intentional. Every rep, every set, every drill, every move, it's with purpose, it's with focus, it's with obsession. They're not just putting in time, they're putting in energy, fire, and passion. Because they know every second matters. Every moment counts. Every day they don't train, someone else is catching up. You think success is a one-time event, a big break, a lucky shot. That's not how it works. Success is hidden in the ordinary. It's hidden in those early mornings when you'd rather sleep. It's hidden in those late nights when your body says, stop, but your purpose says, go. It's hidden in the sweat, the struggle, the soreness. That's where the crown is forged. That's where champions are made. Not on the podium, in the process. I remember when I started speaking, I wasn't on stages. I was in classrooms, in detention halls, in locker rooms with 6 kids. But I trained like I was in front of 10,000. I practiced like it was my final shot. I rehearsed, I studied, I refined, I watched tape. Nobody saw it. Nobody cared. But I did it daily. I did it with excellence. And when my moment came, I didn't get ready. I was already ready. Because champions don't wait for the opportunity to rise to the level. They train daily so their level's always high. Some of you are frustrated because your results don't match your desires, but your discipline don't match your goals. You want $1 million results with minimum wage work ethic. You want to shine on game day, but you're skipping practice. You want the reward, but you're running from the routine. You got to flip that mindset. You got to fall in love with the daily grind. You got to wake up hungry, go to sleep grateful, and in between, dominate your day. Not every now and then. Every day, listen to me. Consistency compounds. Every rep counts. Every session builds. Every day you train, you stack confidence. You stack strength. You stack skill. And eventually you become undeniable. People can't ignore you. They can't overlook you. They can't outwork you. Why? Because while they were resting, while they were chilling, while they were waiting for the mood to hit, you were training. And not just training physically. You were training your mind, training your spirit, training your focus. That's why you win. So don't tell me you want to be a champion if your effort don't match. You keep saying you want to be a champion. You keep saying you want to win. You talk about being the best, standing at the top, dominating your field, making your mark, leaving a legacy. But let me ask you something. You train like a champion because champions don't just talk. Champions don't show up once in a while when they feel like it. Champions don't train occasionally. Champions train daily, every single day, whether they feel like it or not, whether the weather's right or not, whether they're tired or sore or discouraged, they show up. They show up because they understand this. Greatness is not built on convenience. It's built on consistency. Some of you train when your schedule allows. You train when the stars align. You train when you're in the mood. That's why you're not winning. That's why you're not elevating. That's why you're not elevating. That's why you keep losing to people who want it more than you. Because they train like their life depends on it. They train like losing is not an option. They train every single day, whether it's rain or shine, pain or peace. They train like warriors, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Champions don't need to be reminded. They don't need to be motivated. They don't need someone dragging them out of bed. You think Kobe waited for someone to tell him to hit the gym? You think Serena needed someone to remind her it was time to practice? You think Messi had to be big to touch a ball? No, they were already there, already grinding, already doing what most people won't do so they can live how most people never will. That's the mindset. That's the separation. That's what makes them champions. The daily discipline that nobody sees, but everybody respects when the lights come on. See, everybody wants to be great until it's time to do what greatness requires. Everybody wants to win the title, but nobody wants to train like a title holder. You want the championship belt, but you train like a bench warmer. You want to speak on stages, but you don't practice your message. You want to lead people, but you don't lead yourself. That ain't how it works. You got to earn it in the dark. You got to grind when it's boring. You got to stay locked in when there's no hype, no audience, no recognition. Because what you do daily determines who you become permanently. And let me be real, it's not about hours. It's about commitment. You can't just punch the clock and expect miracles. You can't show up half-hearted and think excellence is gonna meet you there. Champions aren't just consistent, they're intentional. Every rep, every set, every drill, every move, it's with purpose, it's with focus, it's with obsession. They're not just putting in time, they're putting in energy, fire, and passion. Because they know every second matters. Every moment counts. Every day they don't train, someone else is catching up. You think success is a one-time event, a big break, a lucky shot. That's not how it works. Success is hidden in the ordinary. It's hidden in those early mornings when you'd rather sleep. It's hidden in those late nights when your body says, stop, but your purpose says, go. It's hidden in the sweat, the struggle, the soreness. That's what the crown is for. That's where champions are made. Not on the podium, in the process. I remember when I started speaking, I wasn't on stages. I was in classrooms, in detention halls, in locker rooms with 6 kids. But I trained like I was in front of 10,000. I practiced like it was my final shot. I rehearsed, I studied, I refined, I watched tape. Nobody saw it. Nobody cared. But I did it daily. I did it with excellence. And when my moment came, I didn't get ready. I was already ready. Because champions don't wait for the opportunity to rise to the level. They train daily so their level's always high. Some of you are frustrated because your results don't match your desires, but your discipline don't match your goals. You want $1 million results with minimum wage work ethic. You want to shine on game day, but you're skipping practice. You want the reward, but you're running from the routine. You got to flip that mindset. You got to fall in love with the daily grind. You got to wake up hungry, go to sleep grateful, and in between, dominate your day. Not every now and then. Every day, listen to me. Consistency compounds. Every rep counts. Every session builds. Every day you train, you stack confidence. You stack strength. You stack skill. And eventually you become undeniable. People can't ignore you. They can't overlook you. They can't outwork you. Why? Because while they were resting, while they were chilling, while they were waiting for the mood to hit, you were training. And not just training physically. You were training your mind, training your spirit, training your focus. That's why you win. So don't tell me you want to be a champion if your effort don't match. Everybody wants something. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants success, a better body, a better life, more money, more freedom. You scroll through social media and see people with cars, houses, followers, fame, and you want that. But let me ask you something. What are you doing to get it? Chewy. Because there's a big gap between wanting and having. And that gap is called discipline. Wanting is easy. Wanting don't cost nothing. You can want in your sleep. You can want while watching Netflix. You can want while scrolling on your phone. But having costs something. Having requires sacrifice. Having demands discipline. Discipline is just doing what you said you do long after the mood you set it in has left you. Discipline is waking up at 4 in the morning, not because it feels good, but because your goals don't care about how you feel. Discipline is going to the gym when your body says rest. Discipline is saying no to the party when your future says grind. Discipline is turning off distraction, shutting out the noise and locking in. It's not sexy. It's not fun, but it works. And that's what separates the dreamers from the doers. That's what separates the people who are wishing from the people who win. You think those people you admire just got lucky? You think they stumbled into greatness? Nah, they paid the price. They were disciplined. While you were sleeping, they were training. While you were partying, they were building that. While you were procrastinating, they were executing, not because it was easy, not because it was fun, but because they had a vision and they had the discipline to pursue it day after day, even when they didn't feel like it. That's what it takes. Let me be real with you. Motivation will get you started, but discipline will keep you going. Motivation is a spark. It's a burst. It's temporary. Discipline is the grind. It's the routine. It's the habit that keeps going even when you're exhausted, even when you're doubting, even when nobody's watching. That's the thing about discipline. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't wait for permission. It gets up and goes to work because it's committed to the mission. There's a reason most people don't make it. It's not because they're not smart. It's not because they're not talented. It's because they lack discipline. They start something and then they quit. They commit on Monday and fall off by Friday. They love the excitement of beginning, but they can't handle the repetition of building. But let me tell you something. Champions build through the boring. Champions repeat what works. Champions keep showing up, keep grinding, keep executing, no matter how they feel. Why? Because they're not led by emotion. They're led by discipline. Discipline is what gets you results when everything else fails. When the hype dies down. When the motivation fades, when life hits hard. Discipline is what keeps you locked in when you get punched in the mouth, because life will test you. Life will shake you. Life will make you question everything. But if you have discipline, you don't flinch. You don't fold. You don't fall apart. You stay focused. You stay grounded. You stay hungry. You say you want to be successful, but do you have the discipline to show up every day? Do you have the discipline to outwork everybody else? Do you have the discipline to suffer now so you can shine later? Because that's what it takes. Not enough to want. Everybody wants it, but not everybody is willing to pay the price. You know what the truth is. Wanting is wishing. Discipline is working. Wanting is hoping. Discipline is hustling. Wanting is talking. Discipline is doing. And at the end of the day, the world don't reward people who want. It rewards people who work. People who are willing to delay gratification. People who are willing to suffer temporarily for something greater. People who are willing to say a no to average so they can say yes to excellence. When you're disciplined, you don't need someone to push you. You don't need alarms. You don't need constant reminders. You are your own motivation. You are your own accountability. You get up and get after it because you're on a mission and nothing is going to stop you. You can have the worst day of your life and still get it done because your feelings don't control your grind. That's discipline. Listen to me. You can either suffer the pain of discipline or suffer the pain of regret. You can sacrifice now or suffer later. But either way, you're going to feel pain. The question is, which one are you choosing? One pain gets you closer to your goals. The other pain haunts you for life. One pain strengthens you. The other pain breaks you. One pain builds character. The other pain builds excuses. So stop saying I wanted you and start showing me your discipline. Show me the grind. Show me the routine. Excuses are the enemy. Period. Every time you make an excuse, you're building a wall between where you are and where you want to be. Excuses are lies. Lies your mind feeds you to protect your comfort zone. See, your brain don't like pain. It don't like discomfort. So the moment you feel pressure, the moment you feel resistance, it starts whispering, or tired. You've done enough. You can skip today. You can quit early. You can catch up tomorrow. Those aren't facts. Those are facts. Those are lies. Lies designed to keep you small. Lies designed to keep you from becoming who you were born to be. And too many of you are believing those lies. Too many of you are living in those lies. You're telling yourself, I'm not ready. It's too hard. I'm not enough time. I'm not talented. I don't have the resources. That's not truth. That's fear dressed up as logic. That's comfort trying to disguise itself as wisdom. And every time you believe it, you take a step back instead of forward. Every time you repeat it, you reinforce weakness instead of building strength. You want the results, but you're protecting the very thing that's keeping you from getting them, your comfort zone. Let me break it down for you. Success does not come with excuses. It comes with execution. Champions don't make excuses. They find a way. They don't let fear write the script. They let purpose lead. When it's cold outside, they run anyway. When they're tired, they train anyway. When it's uncomfortable, they lean in. They don't let the mind talk them out of the mission. They control the voice in their head because they know if you don't control the mind will control you. It'll feed you just enough doubt, just enough fear, just enough reasons to tap out and stay exactly where you are. You think excuses are harmless? They're not. Excuses are slow killers. They kill your potential. They kill your momentum. They kill your dreams in the dark while you're asleep at the wheel. One skipped workout becomes two. One missed opportunity becomes a pattern. One lie becomes your story. Before you know it, you're not living your life. You're surviving it. You're not chasing your goals. You're dodging accountability. You're not growing. You're stuck. And it all started with an excuse. So I hear people all the time say, I would do more if I had more time. Let me tell you something. We all get the same 24 hours. Beyonce has 24 hours. Elon Musk has 24 hours. I got 24 hours. You got 24 hours. The difference isn't time. The difference is discipline. The difference is priorities. The difference is some people refuse to let excuses dictate their actions. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They work with what they've got. They don't wait to feel ready. They just go. You're not limited by your circumstances. You're limited by your excuses. You think you can't start that business because you don't have investors. You think you can't get in shape because you don't have a gym. You think you can't change your life because you didn't grow up with support. Let me be real with you. Your excuses are valid, but valid doesn't mean victorious. Yes, you had it hard. Yes, you've been through stuff, but you don't get a trophy for surviving. You get one for fighting through it. Excuses might explain your situation, but they should never define your outcome. I didn't grow up with everything. I didn't have money. I didn't have all the resources, but I had a dream. I had a purpose. And most of all, I had a refusal to make excuses. I got up when I was tired. I spoke when no one listened. I built when no one clapped. And that's what it takes. That's what separates the ones who get it done from the ones who stay stuck. I had to kill every excuse before I could live in my purpose. And you gotta do the same. Kill it, destroy it. Destroy it. Every time your mind says, I can't, respond with action. Every time it says, it's too much, prove it wrong. There are two types of people in this world. Those who are ruled by their excuses and those who rise above them. And let me tell you, the top, the elite, they didn't get there on talent alone. They got there because they silenced the excuses and turned up the effort. They didn't give themselves an out. They burned a backup plan. They went all in, even when it was painful, even when it was scary, even when it seemed impossible. That's the difference. Not luck, not favor, discipline over excuses. So the next time you feel that excuse creeping in, that little voice trying to protect your comfort, check it. Call it what it is. A lie. And choose truth. Choose work. Choose effort. Choose discipline. Because that's where the transformation happens. That's where the success lives. Not in the easy path. Not in the excuse-filled corner, but in the fire. In the stretch, in the pain. That's where champions are born. Everybody talks about what they're going the moment comes. Everybody swears they're gonna shine when the lights hit. They say, when my time comes, I'll deliver. When the opportunity shows up, I'll be ready. But that's not how it works. You don't magically rise to the occasion. That's a lie they sell in movies. In real life, you don't rise, you fall. You fall to the level of your preparation. When the pressure comes, you don't perform at your highest hope. You perform at your deepest habit. You gotta hear me on this. When everything's on the line, when your back is against the wall, you don't suddenly become Superman. You don't suddenly become disciplined. You don't suddenly become excellent. No, you become exactly what you trained to be. And if you didn't train, if you didn't prepare, if you didn't grind in silence, then when the moment hits, you fall short. Not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't put in the work when it mattered most, when no one was watching. See, people love the big stage. People love the dream. They fantasize about the victory. But what they don't want is the preparation. They don't want the grind. They don't want the daily reps, the early mornings, the late nights. They want the result, but they reject the routine. But you got to understand, the preparation is the price of admission. The preparation is what earns you the right to perform when the moment comes. You don't get to skip the process and expect to own the stage. Think about a fighter. He doesn't become a champion on fight night. He becomes a champion in the gym, in the hours you never see, in the sweat, in the pain, in the blood on the mat. So by the time he steps into that ring, he's not hoping to win. The fight isn't new to him. It's familiar. He's rehearsed it 1,000 times. He's visualized it. He's trained for every possible scenario. So when the bell rings, he's not guessing, he's reacting. He's executing because he's prepared. He's lived that moment long before it arrived. You gotta prepare like that. You gotta train like your life depends on it, because it does. Every day you gotta sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, condition your spirit. You gotta treat every rep like it matters. Every meeting like it's the big one. Every decision like it's a defining moment. Because when the pressure hits, you won't have time to think. You'll default to your training. If you train soft, you'll fold. If you train inconsistent, you'll crack. But if you train hard, if you train with excellence show up even under pressure. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm here to tell you the truth. The moment you've been dreaming about won't wait for you to get ready. It won't wait for you to gather yourself. When it shows up fast. The door opens, the mic drops, the lights turn on, and there's go time. And the only thing that will carry you through that moment is your preparation. Not your talent, not your charm, not your potential, your preparation. And preparation is about more than just physical work. It's about mental toughness, emotional maturity, spiritual alignment. It's about making sure your values are locked in, your priorities are set, and your identity is rooted. Because life will shake you. It'll test you. It'll throw storms your way. And if you haven't built your foundation, you'll fall apart. You'll collapse. But when you prepare, you stand firm. You stay grounded. You handle the pressure. Not because it's easy, but because you trained for it. I've had moments in my life when everything was on the line, when the mic was handed to me and the world was watching. And let me tell you, I didn't rise in those moments. I fell to my level of preparation, and thank God I had put in the work. Thank God I didn't take shortcuts. Thank God I trained like my future depended on it, because it did. That's why I preach the way I preach. That's why I bring fire every time, because I prepared in the dark for this light. I stayed ready so I didn't have to get ready. You can't wait until the test to study. You can't wait until the game to practice. You can't wait till the opportunity to start building. That's too late. The clock is already ticking. You gotta move now. You gotta grind now. You gotta grind now. You gotta build the habit now so that when the pressure comes, you don't fold. You flourish. Look, nobody's born ready. Readiness is built. Now, preparation is full, and you don't get better wishing. You get better working. You get better by showing up every day, regardless of how you feel, and putting in the work. You get better by pushing past your limits and forcing growth. You get better by doing the right thing over and over and over until it's who you are. So you want to shine in the moment. If you want to succeed when the opportunity comes, don't wait for the occasion. You've been wasting too much. Wasting time, wasting energy, wasting opportunities. Not because you aren't talented, not because you aren't smart, but because you weren't ready when it mattered. And you keep telling yourself, I'll get ready when the time comes. But let me hit you with the truth. By the time you're getting ready, the moment has already passed. You lost it, and you can't get that time back. That opportunity won't knock again. Somebody else was ready, and they took what should have been yours. When you live unprepared, everything becomes urgent. Everything becomes a scramble. Now you're rushing. Now you're panicking. Now you're stressed out, trying to make something happen that should have already been in motion. You can't build a resume the night before the interview. You can't cram for a life-changing moment. You can't summon discipline in a crisis if you didn't develop in peace. When you stay ready, though, when you're always on go, you move different. You respond different. You respond different. You don't panic. You execute. You don't flinch. You focus. Because the work was already done. The mindset was already set. Let me break this down. Every time you're unprepared, you're wasting mental bandwidth. You're constantly playing catch-up. You're constantly reacting instead of planning. And all that reaction mode is draining, is inefficient. You're burning energy you shouldn't have to burn. You're making decisions you could have already made, but when you stay ready, when your systems are in place, your habits are locked in, your calendar is tight. You're not spending time thinking about what to do next. You're already in motion. That's power. That's efficiency. That's how champions operate. And don't get it twisted. It's not about being perfect. Staying ready doesn't mean you got it all figured out. It means your mind is always in forward mode. It means you train daily. You stay humble. You're always sharpening. You don't relax into laziness just because things are calm right now. You don't let success make you soft. You keep the same hunger that got you started. You stay on your toes. Because the next opportunity might not come with a warning. It'll come fast, and it'll come once. That's how doors open. That's how promotions happen. That's how lives change. Somebody saw you grinding when there was no spotlight, and they said, oh, that's the one, right there. Not because you were the flashiest, not because you were the loudest, but because you were ready. Because they knew if they handed it to you, you wouldn't fumble it. You wouldn't freeze. You wouldn't need more time to get in shape, get your finances right, get your skills together. You were already moving, already prepared, already built for it. So ask yourself, how many times have you missed it? Be honest. How many doors could have been yours? How many stages should have had your name on them? How many checks went to somebody else just because you hesitated? Because you weren't prepared when the opportunity came calling. That's a painful truth. It's not too late to fix it. You can still shift. You can still make a ready your lifestyle. You can still commit to preparation so tight, so consistent, so locked in that you're always in position. When you stay ready, you don't need a warm-up. You don't need a heads up. You don't need a break. You don't need conditions to be perfect. You just go. You move. You respond instantly because your life is in order, your focus is clear, your energy is conserved and applied with precision. You don't waste time trying to remember your goals. Your goals are tattooed on your soul. You wake up with them, you sleep with them, you walk with them. So when the shot comes, you don't hesitate. You take it. And there's one more thing. Staying ready protects you from fear. Fear creeps in when you know you haven't done the work. Fear whispers, ooh, not good enough, when you skip the reps. But when you stay ready, when you know you put in the hours, the sweat, the grind, fear has no place because you know you belong. You know you earned it. You walk in prepared, not prideful, but powerful. That's the real advantage. That's the confidence that preparation brings. So if you're tired of missing chances, tired of fumbling blessings, tired of always feeling like you're behind, fix it. Tighten up your schedule. Fix your habits. Protect your energy. Stop saying to someday and start doing the daily work now. Get in the gym. Read the books. Learn the craft. Build the brand. Clean your space. Master your time. Be so locked in that when the door opens, you don't even blink. You walk through like it was built for you. Because it's not about luck. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about being so prepared, so consistent, so ready, that the moment becomes yours the second it arrives. Stay ready, and you won't have to get ready. You'll just win. Greatness ain't a one-time thing. It ain't something you stumble on. And it sure as hell isn't something you do once and expect to be remembered forever. Greatness is not some act you perform when people are watching. Greatness is a habit. It's what you do daily when nobody claps, when nobody sees, when nobody's watching your grind. If you think greatness is showing up once, giving one big performance, getting one lucky break, then you've already lost. You've been lied to. Real greatness is consistent. It's embedded. It's built over time, rep after rep, decision after decision, sacrifice after sacrifice. You don't become great by accident. You don't become great because you had a good day or a good season. Greatness is built in the dark. Greatness is forged in discipline. It's about what you choose to do when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up early when your body says sleep. It's going to the gym when your mind says quit. It's reading the book, writing the plan, sending the email, making the call, even when nobody's applauding, even when it seems like nobody cares. Because it's not about the crowd. It's about the standard you set for yourself. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your system. You fall to the level of your training. And those systems, those routines, those habits, they determine your future. Period. The problem is most people want results without the repetition. They want the success without the structure. They want the shine without the sacrifice. But that's not how this works. You don't become a master by dabbling. You become a master by doing it every single day until the world has no choice but to recognize what you've become. And hear me. I'm not just talking about athletes or business people or speakers. I'm talking about every area of your life. If you want to be a great husband, it's not about one big anniversary gesture. It's about daily love, daily presence, daily effort. If you want to be a great student, it's not about cramming for one test. It's about reading every day, studying every night, staying ahead. If you want to be a great human being, it's not about being kind once in a while. It's about choosing compassion when it's hard, choosing service when you're tired, choosing character when nobody's looking. That's what separates the greats from the average. The average perform when it's convenient. The greats perform when it's required, whether they feel like it or not. The greats don't let their feelings dictate their effort. They let their commitment dictate their action. They train themselves to follow through, and that habit, that consistency, that's what builds legacy. That's what creates greatness that lasts. Not for a moment, but for generations. You can't fake this. You can fake talent. You can fake charm. You can fake energy, but you can't fake habits. Your habits will always tell the truth. Your habits reveal who you really are. If you say you want success, but your habits don't align with that goal, you're lying to yourself. If you say you want greatness, but you live lazy, you don't really want it. You want the idea of greatness. But the real thing costs something. The real thing demands sacrifice. The real thing is built through habits that most people aren't willing to adopt. And here's the hard truth. If you're not consistent, if you're not disciplined, if you don't stick with it long enough, you will never know what you could have been. That's the pain that eats people up. Not failure, but regret. Not falling short, but never knowing how far you could have gone. All because you didn't make the choice every day to do the right thing. To build greatness through the mundane, through the routine, through the stuff that doesn't feel glamorous, but produces champions. I didn't get to where I am by being talented. I got here by building habits that supported my calling. I made a decision that I was gonna outwork everybody. I was gonna outlast everybody. I was gonna stay consistent when others quit. I was gonna get up earlier, stay later, and do what needed to be done. Day in, day out. Not just when it was easy. Not just when it was exciting, but even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. That's how you build a life you're proud of. That's how you stop hoping and start winning. By turning greatness into your daily routine. By making it who you are, not what you do once in a while. Don't tell me what your dream is. Show me your routine. Show me what you do when the alarm goes off. Show me what you do when you fail. Show me what you do when nobody's cheering. Because that's where greatness lives. That's where champions are made. So if you want to change your life, stop chasing moment. Start chasing mastery. Start chasing mastery. Start building habits that match your goals. Start stacking days, stacking reps, stacking wins. Procrastination and panic are the enemies of progress. They are the two biggest thieves of time, energy, and opportunity. And they show up when you aren't prepared. You felt it before. That moment when you realize the deadline is here, the pressure's on, you haven't done the work. Suddenly panic sets in. Your heart races, your mind blanks. You're scrambling, desperate, trying to make something out of nothing. That's the cost of poor preparation. When you're not ready, fear takes over and procrastination wins. But preparation is the antidote. When you're prepared, panic doesn't stand a chance. You walk into every situation knowing you've done your homework. You put in the time. You build your skills. You plan your moves. That calm confidence, that's preparation talking. You don't hesitate. You don't freeze. You move with clarity and purpose because you know exactly what you're supposed to do. The pressure becomes fuel instead of a threat. Procrastination sneaks in because of uncertainty and fear. When you don't know what to do or you doubt yourself, it's easier to avoid the task than to face it head on. You tell yourself, I'll do it later, but later turns into never. You wait for the right moment, but the right moment doesn't just show up. You have to create it. And you create it by preparing ahead of time. When you prepare, you eliminate the excuses. You replace doubt with certainty. You replace fear with confidence. Suddenly, procrastination has no space to grow because your plan is already in motion. Think about the times you procrastinated in panic. What was the real root cause? Usually it's a lack of preparation. You didn't start lack of preparation. You didn't break down the task. You didn't commit to the discipline required to move forward. Instead, you waited for motivation to hit you, but motivation is unreliable. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline built through preparation is what keeps you moving when motivation fades. And here's the kicker. Panic clouds your judgment. When you panic, your brain shuts down logical thinking and you start making mistakes. You overlook important details. You miss opportunity. You sabotage yourself because you're operating from a place of fear instead of strategy. But when you prepare, you train your brain to act before panic can take hold. You build muscle memory, mental clarity, and emotional control so that when pressure comes, you respond. You don't react. That's a game changer. Preparation also means breaking your goals into manageable steps. When you see a big mountain ahead, it's easy to freeze. But if you prepare by chunking down your task into small, achievable pieces, suddenly the mountain becomes a series of hills. You know what to do next. You have a plan. You start moving forward step by step. Procrastination has no power over a person who knows exactly what the next move is, because the preparation mapped it out. There's no magic in preparation. It's simple, but it's not easy. It requires consistent effort, focus, and discipline. It means showing up every day to do the work. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when you're distracted. Preparation is the grind that nobody sees. It's the 5 a.m. wake-ups, the extra practice, the reading, the planning, the reflection. It's the repetition of small, intentional actions that build momentum and eliminate the chaos of last-minute panic. When you make preparation a habit, you start living on a whole new level. You're no longer reacting. You're proactive. You control your schedule instead of your schedule controlling you. You don't wait for crisis to push you forward. You push yourself forward every single day. And that's how you beat procrastination and panic before they even start. You stay ahead of the game. You stay ready. And let me be clear. Preparation isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about learning, adjusting, and moving forward even when you stumble. Because preparation creates a cushion for mistakes. It gives you time to recover. It keeps you from spiraling into panic when things don't go exactly as planned. When you prepare, you build resilience. You build confidence. You build the mindset that says, no matter what happens, I've got this. So if you want to stop procrastinating and panicking, start preparing. Plan your day, plan your week, plan your moves. Anticipate challenges and prepare solutions. Train your mind and body to operate under pressure. Practice the skills you need until they become second nature. When you do that, you'll see how preparation transforms your life. You won't just survive stress and deadline. You'll thrive in them. The truth is, panic and procrastination will always be there, lurking. They're part of the battle,